All right, you guys, this is the first episode of Curb Talk. I told you guys that I was going to have JT on, a former correctional officer that worked in Mill Creek and Folsom. He's going to kind of go over your story, and then we're going to talk about some of the things that he experienced during his career. So, JT, man, it's a pleasure to have you on the channel, man. I appreciate you reaching out. You just want to start out by just talking about how you got involved in, being a correctional officer.
Yeah, thank you, bro, for having me on your, on your channel, because much respect, bro. Of course, everybody's heard about you and stuff, and especially me being in corrections, I definitely heard about you. So
I appreciate it, man.
For sure, man. So yeah, I started back in 1994, and I had caught, like, we gotten this big old thing over here in Sacramento. And I ended up hitting this dude over the head with the baseball bat. And I was in the 11th grade only, and 17 years old. And I was able to go to the Marine Corps with me and my homeboy, and who was in this fight as well. But so we went to the Marine Corps. My other homie stayed. He ended up catching a murder over here at Sky Park Apartments in the South area over here. So long story short, I get out the Marine Corps in 1990. I went from 85 to 89. I got out in 1989. And what I didn't realize was my homie that caught the murder, his dad was a bigwig in corrections. He started at Folsom Prison back in the day. And so when I had got out of the Marine Corps, I worked in warehousing and did these little things and stuff like that. It was cool. But my homie's dad said, bro, like, you need to fill out this application. I'll get you in corrections. So,
yeah.
I wasn't familiar, at all with prison guards and correctional officers or whatever. But I was like, shit. I looked at the pay, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
That's where the money's at, definitely.
Man, yes, sir. I never seen money like that. So, they were going to send me to Calipatria in '94. Calipat was just opening up, and they're sending everybody over there. And so I called my boy. He was like, nah, where you want to go, Mule Creek or Folsom? I said Folsom. So he shot me to Folsom. So, I went to the academy. Oh, and a funny thing, I started the academy November 5th, 1994. But my wife was pregnant at the time. So we had to induce her labor on the 4th, on November 4th, had the baby, dropped them off, and boom, I was gone to the academy. And funny, because I wrote my son a letter when I was there, right?
Yeah.
He was born and stuff. And then I gave it to him when he graduated high school. You know what I mean? I gave him that letter, and I was like, man, you did everything I was hoping for. You know what I mean? So
That's
anyway,
right.
that's no side note. So I went to the academy, and then, I started at Folsom Prison in December, mid-December, and it's storming and everything. It's my first day there. I'm excited. You know what I mean? I don't know what to expect. And so it was actually First Watch was my first gig there. And
First Watch, that's when is it? What is First Watch? That's
10 at nighttime. So
it's at nighttime, right?
Our hours were weird. For Folsom Prison only, it was 11:30 to 7:30. 11:30 at night to 7:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So anyway, my first job is at 13 Tower, right? And the only reason I'm telling you this story is because it dictated from my first day what type of program to have at Folsom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and you got to understand, like, I didn't know nothing about being a cop. I didn't know nothing about none of that stuff. I ain't gonna say I'm from the streets or whatever. You know what I mean? But I've been around, so. Yeah. I ain't one of these squares, you know what I mean? Like that most of them are up there, to be real. So 13 Tower, if anybody's been there, like, it's like a freaking castle, man. It's huge. This tower made of granite, scary looking tower.
That's old Folsom?
That old Folsom, yep. It kind of, in 13 Tower, it kind of overlooks like the lower yard a little bit. It's just in a weird area. But
so when you drive up, you got the castle right there, right?
The east entrance, yeah. Yep.
Okay, then where's the tower in conjunction to that? To the right?
Man, if you just walk all the way down that
oh, okay.
If you go if you go straight, you could turn towards Visiting right there, but if you keep going straight, that's where this tower is at.
Okay.
So, and they still got old school shit. So I had to wheel this bucket and it would hit the window, and the dude was supposed to send the key down, and then I'd roll it back down and I'd let myself in. Well, I got there 30 minutes early, my first day, I'm motivated, whatever. And I'm like, dang, I'm not doing this right. Like the dude ain't answering. It's black up there. Like, I'm like, dang. So sure enough, though, 5 minutes to the start time, the dude shoots down the key. And I'm like, what? So I climb all the way up there, go up there. I'm like, I say, man, I've been down there for 30 minutes. And this guy was named Tremblay. He was the number one CO. You know, he was one, you know, like I was 500 and something, he was one. And so he goes to checking me, telling me, yeah, I don't get relieved early and blah, blah, blah. And he was calling me a fish. And I'm like, man, this dude's like 89 years old. You know, he was in good shape, man, but come on. You know, I'm 26. And I told him straight, I said, look, bro, like, you know, I don't know fish and all that or whatever, you know what I mean? And I checked him basically, you know what I mean? I told him, I'll throw you out this tower, bro. Like, you don't ever talk to me like that. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that's just the way, like, they weren't used to that kind of talk. And I never heard of clowning. I never heard of sex playing. I got to understand what that stuff meant, which against my character, like, you know, I don't play like that, you know what I mean? Ever at all. So, you know, after that, that kind of set, like I was on my own. He spread the word, you know what I mean? They had parking lot therapy and all that stuff. No one wanted to see me out there in the park.
I heard stories about the parking lot, man.
For sure. But yeah, they know I'm calling me out there. But you know, so it just turned into that, man, for my whole career, And I'm just gonna say, like, you know, I'm from Sacramento, freaking, you know, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like when I went to the store, it was either red or blue, you know, whatever I wanted to buy, I'm buying the red one, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna do, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, no disrespect or whatever, just I'm buying the red thermos. I'm buying the red lunch pail, and I threw on some red KD just to let it be known. You know what I mean? But but so I just did my program different, bro. But
hey, not to interrupt you, man, but that's something that really happens. So I ran a story on Corcoran, and a lot of the females, their little scrunchies were, because a lot of them did sympathize with either Sureños or the Norteños. And they really did, you know, they wore their colors, man. So,
sure.
No, it does happen.
They had all the Mexican mafia cats, you know, back in the day.
I remember.
So all those COs and sergeants, they grew up with the mafia, and so yeah, they didn't like Norteños at all, you know. And so yeah, that's how I did it, bro. My first, so I started there in '94. I started working the yard in '96. I was surprised that they asked me to work third watch on the yard. And I remember I was at the 5-count gate, and this Mexican cat comes in. You know, he's bald headed, he got tattoos everywhere, but he got a big old swastika on his chest. And I'm like, you confused, man. Vasquez? And you a skinhead, right? And I like, oh, and he started getting in my face. You know what I mean? I crawled over the little fence thing. You know, I'm like, man, be quiet, bro. Like, you know, I'm just confused. You got me confused, you know? And he's like running his mouth, whatever. Okay. So the yard is over, and Sergeant Sabota and, you know, a lot of, the cats on the yard, you know, the yard's over and they're leaving. I'm like, where you going? And they're like, we're going to go deal with that dude. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, that dude ain't going to talk to us. So let's go, you know? So we go to 2 building, and it's like 9 o'clock. It's shut down, you know, it's dark. And I tell the cop, hey, go get old boy. And so here he comes. He gets Vasquez. The inmate's name was Vasquez. And he's coming down, and I just got my jumpsuit on. I don't even have my belt on. I don't nothing. Everybody else went inside of, right there by R&R is an inmate clerk's office, right by R&R 2 building. So the other COs went in there and was waiting for me. So anyway, I bring the dude back, and I'm just talking. We sit him down on a milk crate, right? In retrospect, you know, we scared the shit out of this dude. You know what I mean? Anyway, so he starts running his mouth, and like we just switched from a level 4 to a level 2. So one of my homies, Duchette, the CO, slapped this fool. Bam! He looked like, man, he had
Home slapped him.
he had like a reddish mark on his almost knocked that fool out. And so we're just explaining to him, like, bro, be cool in the yard, everything's cool. And so, it went on a little bit. I ain't gonna get into all that, but I left there and I was like, I felt good that they supported me like that, but I never did that again, bro. Like, I felt kind of bad because like it should have just been me and him, you know what I mean? And even though I liked the camaraderie that it built, that I felt, I was like, I'll never do that again. We scared the shit out that dude, and it ain't even necessary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anything else that happened, I was sure to do it by myself, man. But so that was my first incident. But it was always one-on-ones, like you hear, and that's why I don't want to talk like this, because you hear, especially COs pumping like they did something and they're tough and all that stuff, and that's the thing. I wasn't, bro. But if you wanted some, you can get some. You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
And I was working 4 building this one time, and at this particular time, the bottom tier was ADSEG, and the top 2 tiers in 4 building was GP. So I worked ADSEG, and I would have to help run chow. So I would lock the doors behind me, and then I would run regular chow, GP. And so I'm messing with these Africanos, right? Just joking with them, and then this other cat jumps in and he starts woofing, like, talking mess to me, and because I was messing with these dudes, and he's like, "Oh, you don't respect inmates and blah blah blah," and I was like, "Bro, man, mind your business." Anyway, so I told him I'm running chow, and I say, "Bro, you kick back. You know what I mean? Just stay here after chow. You know what I mean? We'll talk, whatever." So dudes are telling, man, Tor's about to fuck you up, man. Like you tripping. You know what I mean? And so I finished chow, and he has a bag of groceries. He sets it down, and I was like, whatever. And I have to lock the main door to the rotunda to the chow. So as soon as I'm locking that door, this fool snakes me from behind. Boom. But under my arm and cracks me in my head somehow. And then like I kick back and we end up falling on the ground, right? And I got a fucking herniated L5S1, like my back blew out right then and there. Boom. I even heard like a, but like you say, man, when your adrenaline's pumping, you ain't tripping on nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I stood up, and bro, I never seen a man so scared in my life, bro. Like when we squared up and I looked him in his eyes, I was like, boy, I'm about to get this. I took up on him. We just started doing our thing, man. They took him out on a gurney and whatever, boy. But yeah, it stuff like that. There was that big riot in 2001, I think, when the North and the South had gone off on the yard. That was a big one.
I remember that. You were there when that happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, but real quick, in regards to what you were saying, though, that kind of shit used to happen a lot in the in the late 80s, early 90s, though, a lot of the COs, and it was respectable. You know what I mean? If you disrespected them, they give you a heads up fade, man. So, I mean, a lot of times that happens, but a lot of times too, it ain't fair. You end up getting jumped on, you end up getting packed out, man.
Yeah, bro, look at when I worked the yard and that look at, man, like I would play the paisas, whoever won, because the paisas had the handball court in Blood Alley back there. And so whoever won, we would keep them back, and me and my homie would play them. You know what I mean? I have fun. We'd have fun like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'd play the winners of the handball for that night and, play for some soups or something. And then, like, if I worked the mini yard, like, I wouldn't let the yard out. I just play hoop for a little bit with the dudes. You know what I mean? I just had my fun, bro. I just did it different. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's, what was I gonna say? Freaking, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of those. One time, there was a big old Crip messing with me. He just didn't like me. You know what I mean? And this is in 2 building, 5th tier. It's dark as hell. We used to have regular light bulbs. They would break those every chance they get, so it'd be dark. Gunner is somewhere else, and this dude kept bumping into me. I'm like, bro, like, but you know, the tears are hella tiny and stuff
Yeah.
as it is. And this big old cat, boom. I let it go, you know what I mean? And then he did it again. I'm like, look, man, it's gonna come to a head. Like, you know, we have to take care of this, you know.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, the next day, I mean, I was gripping that steering wheel a little harder when I got to work because I knew I had to go see this fool, you know. And I wasn't gonna hit him. I was gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
But there was this dude. He's sign languaging to me, and I don't know sign language, you know what I mean? But I'm like, yeah, you know, whatever. I'll just mess around. Trying to find out, he took care of this fool for me. He was a blood from Sacramento, from the P, from Oak Park, and I guess he was asking me if he wanted me to, if I wanted him to take care of it in sign language. I told that fool, yeah. What the hell? Next thing I hear, code 1 alarm, 2 building, you know, B side, whatever. And they smoked this fool for me. And the dude came back. He's like, Torres, we're cool. You know, I was like, all right, cool.
Hey, so that tells me, without even knowing a little bit more about what was going on, though, that you must have had a lot of respect with a lot of the inmates. And believe it or not, man, that happens a lot, because a lot of the times, you know, I've talked about it before, when you got some cool ass COs that are respectable and they carry themselves well. They don't bring their problems to work, and they're not just shitting on some of the inmates. A lot of times, man, they get a lot of respect. And I've even seen cats where if somebody was to jump on them, they'd help the CO out. So, you know, it sounds like you had that respect, man.
That happened to me. This is when I knew it was serious. This dude, we were getting down at 1 count gate in the rotunda right before you get to 1 building. I'm fighting this dude, and we fall. And I'm looking, and the COs are standing right there at the 1 count gate. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, they didn't even come, right? And my stupid ass PR-24 we used to have, my baton slid, and, you know, this inmate slid it back to me. You know what I mean? I was like, good looking, you know what I mean? So I went to town on that fool. But, yeah, you know, people just, you know, I think, and, you know, they hated that word respect, too. And that's what's a trip, man. Like, the other COs. And I'm like, you know, whatever. It is about respect. You know, we're people, you know what I'm saying? And I used to read, you know, a lot of the files, especially people that work for me, but I had to stop doing that because I started judging them and so forth.
Right.
You know, but there was this one time, you know, one of my workers, he was running his mouth to me like, I know you, Torres, you ain't all that. I'm like, bro, I don't need, relax. You know what I mean? He was a biker from Sacramento.
Yeah.
And I read his file. I'm like, look, homie, don't say another word to me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pull your covers. You know what I mean? Like, don't say nothing to me. You know, he had some bad shit in his file.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he kept messing with me. And I told him, I said, bro, I read your file. Like, be cool. You know, you're here. Be happy you're here. You know, be quiet. But he wouldn't. So, you know, I told Blinky, who ran that building, whatever, I said, man, you checking everybody's paperwork? Because, you know, I don't know. You know what I mean? Some may have slipped in.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, so I know you said that first day, the tower incident kind of dictated your career, or kind of like set the tone, right?
Right.
But like, you guys have TOs. You guys have TOs that work with you like for the first 2 weeks, right? Or do they do it different in CDC?
Nah. Yeah, no, heck no. Especially in '94, bro, inmates showed me how to do my job. You know
So they just basically throw you out there from the academy.
From the gate.
Damn, that's crazy, man. See, like a lot of I know in some of the county jails, like Santa Clara County, for instance, the Department of Corrections runs that jail. But when the new officers come on, they teach them. They get a TO for like, I don't know, a month, 2 weeks. But usually that's what sets the tone of their career. They either get a bad TO that will train them like, man, fuck these inmates, and this is how you got to do it, and fucking don't ever fucking bow down, and don't, you know, this is all they got coming. Or you get those guys that understand. It's like, look, man, you can either bring your problems, you know, leave your problems at the gate, come to work, have an easy 12 hours, you know, or if you want to fight, you know, there's 1,000 motherfuckers that you can fight with, man. No, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I guess it's a little different, man. No. Hey, so
Yeah,
that
that's the bad
incident
part.
that, huh?
Yeah, that's the bad part. They just send you on. I'm like, what? I came early so you could show me. He's like, whatever. And I'm like, man, but and now, so the other big problem I had, right, when I was working at SEG at Folsom, and the homies they were debriefing, right, some Northerners,
Mm-hmm.
well, a Northerner, and I'm bringing them in, right. We sit them down, and I'm just an escort. S&I is there, whatever, right. And the dude says, I'm not going to say anything while Torres is here. And they're like, what? Who the fuck is Torres?
Yeah.
I'm looking like a dummy, like, and he's like, nah, nothing. You know, I just respect him, you know what I mean? And then whatever. I'm like, he probably don't want to spill his beans in front of somebody. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But after that, you know, this particular CO, his name's Borrego, right? And he was on S&I and whatever. He was asking dudes, like, you got anything on Torres? You know, trying to put me out there or something. And so I had to check that fool. I caught him at the entrance gate, and I was like, I'll smash you. You know what I mean? What's your problem? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a thing, bro. Like, of course, I understand Northern. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't know nothing, you know, but I know Northerners
So
are from
the basic politics, man.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And man, these cats are trying to say I got socked on my stomach. And man, get the fuck. I'm a CO, man. If you ever hear me talking some dumb shit like that, you got me messed up, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a CO. Period. End of story. You know, and what's funny, my best friend lived in 2 building, you know, for years, right? And people would ask, you know, other inmates knew, you know, whatever, but they're like, man, have you ever brought in anything? I'm like, man, if I didn't bring nothing for my best friend, you think I'm gonna bring in fucking anything for any motherfucking buddy? Like, got me fucked up. Like, I brought a note from his daughter, and I on a salad stretch, and I put it under his pillow. You know what I mean? That's the most I ever did for him. You know, I mean, he'd come down, and I'd shut the phones off, and I just let him have his privacy. You know, I'd do little shit like that. You know what I mean? I cut the phones off and then put them on just for him, so he'd have his privacy, whatever. But that was it. But yeah, they were trying to put that on me tough, that I was part of something or whatever.
Hey,
but never
man.
the case.
Hey, JT, I'll tell you like this, man. You know, during the course of the time when I was incarcerated, whether it was the county jails or prison, I was always successful at getting COs to bring shit in. I'm serious, man. And relationships with some of the female officers. People don't know how much that shit happens, man, but it does, man. You know what I mean? But you know, there was always two types of characters that I would always go after. So you got the guy that comes out of the academy, which we call the boot, right? This guy is always thinking that somebody's trying to manipulate him. He's not. He always thinks that we're trying to get over on him. So I won't even fuck with somebody like that. But then you got this other type of character that he acts like he's from the hood. He knows people out there in the hood, and he's always gravitating towards us, right? So he'll come over to my door and he'll just want to try to pick my brain. I know what he's doing, but that's the type of individual I'll start working on right there. Like, hey, let me get that pen filler, man. It'll start with something small like that, right? And then I've had a lot of luck with veteran officers, cats that been there 15, 20 years and they're on their way out the door. They understand the politics. A lot of them understand the situation that some of us are in, and they just don't give a fuck about nothing no more, man. Hey, if you guys are gonna kill somebody, fuck, do it on the next watch, man. I don't feel like cutting no paperwork. I want to kick back, watch my fucking DVDs, and go home. You know what I'm saying? But those are the cats that anytime you put an inmate around an officer like that, an inmate that's somewhat sophisticated, that has been around, done some time. It doesn't necessarily even have to be a gang member, just a convict.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you leave them around an officer for an extended period of time, 5 months, 6 months, and give him an opportunity to put his hooks in, they get manipulated. You know, you got some crafty individuals, man. It'll start with something small, and they'll build that trust. that common ground, and then that trust, and then it's wide open, man. And once they cross that line the first time, that's it, man. A lot of times too, man, either the inmate that they're hooking up is going to end up dumping on them, or somebody else is going to be envious because they don't got it the same way. But it happens a lot, man. You guys as officers, sometimes you guys get into financial binds too, man, and it sounds good. A couple cell phones for a couple grand. Fuck, you know what I'm saying? But those are the cats that I've had success with in the past, man. And I've had literally, man, everything brought in, everything from buck knives to fucking what do you call that protein powders, drugs. Wait, what do you got in your bathroom cabinet? I got some fucking some Vicodins. Bring them motherfuckers, man. You know what I mean? DVDs, porn, music, man, you name it, man. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I see it. You know what I mean? Like, and what's funny, like, there's 5 black dudes that I kicked it with my whole time, bro. They did 30 years. Shout out to them: Raylo, Cue Ball, Weasel, Tiptoe, Lowdown. Oh, Lowdown's from LA. He said he met you in AdSeg at Quentin. He had a story about you, but yeah, you like, but I couldn't. Well, when I first got there, it was a level 2, and the North Daniels were cool. Like, I could talk to them, especially dudes from Sacramento that I knew, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know what year it was. I guess some real cats came, and blew up the yard, and then it was a wrap. Like, I was canine after that, and whatever. But yeah, you were like, so I was saying, one of the dudes that paroled, one of the dudes that I was just mentioned, he gives me the phone. He's like, we're at my house, and he says, someone wants to talk to you. Now I'm like, hello, and it was this CO female, and I'm like, this bro, she give me the biggest blues, and she's over here being with one of these cats, bro.
Yeah.
When she would say, "You inmate lover," and clown me in at work the whole time.
That's her cover
with this cat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you dirty man. They used to give me the blues, bro, but because I was a fair dude, you know what I mean?
Right.
And but they hated that, bro. And I would tell them, I said, look, if you ever see an inmate disrespect me or disrespecting their CO while I'm here, then you could call me a bitch, you know what I mean? Or whatever you want. But until then, a dude wants a phone call, go ahead, man. Your mom's sick. Go ahead, man. Like, if you're going to lie about it like that, go ahead. I don't care. You're going to do it tomorrow. You're going to do it again.
Yeah.
But the COs would have such a hard time with that type of stuff, man. But yeah, no, they used to tell me they'd have CO females on the tier, these North Daniels, and I ain't gonna throw her name out there, but sure enough, she got cracked. Yeah, but nah, bro. Like, I feel like a square. Like, man, you know what I mean? Like, I would never do that to myself. I don't care for nobody.
Yeah. When I sit back and think about it, man, it's crazy. The manipulation is it's got to be good. Nobody's gonna put their career on the line just for anybody, man. And I'm sure a lot of these people too would be like, man, I would never fucking cross that line and ever do nothing like that for an inmate, and then it ends up happening. But that's a huge line to cross, man, to fuck off that pension and that money with cow wrap. I know what is it called? It's cow
what purse?
Retirement, cow purse. There you go. That's crazy money right there, man. But yeah,
so I mean, I did 12 years at Old Folsom, and then something like that. Then I went to Mule Creek, and I just lateraled over there, and that place, bro. Whew,
yeah,
they call it Mule Creek, but man, A Yard, the level 4. That's just, I think, man, it was popping. And AdSeg, Man, it was cracking, man.
Yeah, I know you got some stories, man. Let's get into it. So, like while you were still in Folsom, what was like one of the first incidents that you remember kicking off? Was there Northerners on the yard at that time, or were they
Yeah,
just getting blasted?
nah, they ran that yard,
Oh,
and
in
but
'94,
yeah,
it was a
yep.
level 4 at that time.
No, level two.
Level 2, okay.
Yep, and we had a couple bulldogs that showed up, and it was cool, but they ended up taking them off the line. I don't know if it was 96 or no, that'd be like 97 or something like that. Um, but